what would you say are like old school's biggest weaknesses right now? What do we need to fix? Where do we need to like, if you were able to point us, anyone in the studio, any team.
We need to fix drop rates for my account. Listen, I should not have to do 10 TOBs to get loot. That is diabetical. We've got to add the streamer client ASAP. Flip the switch, turn the knob, turn me up type shit. This is craziness. I shouldn't be having to work hard for my things. I'm a streamer type shit.
In one direction, what would you set us to solve?
Okay, first one, bit of a cop-out answer, and it's not my final answer.
Okay.
Customer support.
Sure.
If someone comes to me in my chat saying they need stuff, now I know you probably both get bombarded with messages and you're not the people that you're meant to deal with. But the best advice I can give someone is either tweet them or Reddit post. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel customer support should be on the website. You know, if I could answer honestly, the best way to get on ban, like for me as a creator, I believe streamer favoritism exists. Everyone knows it. We don't get boosted drop rates. They don't exist. Anything in the game doesn't. But if I got banned or falsely banned or my account got locked or something like that, or I got hacked, message one of you, 10 minutes, it'd be sorted, no problem. Now other people can't get that, but that's streamer favoritism. But other people though, if they ask me,
that's what I would
my
do.
account's falsely banned, I can't do that. I'm a player, you know, but I have contacts at the gym ones, but I don't know who to contact.
Yeah.
And the best thing I can tell people is you either tweet them or you do a Reddit post. What I would like to be able to say is go to the website, go to here, do a message. And as soon as I know that that is the best way and tweeting someone is useless or a Reddit post is useless, which it never would be, it'd always have a better use. That's what I'd like to be able to say on the customer support side is falsely banned. Obviously false bans happen. Some false bans are obviously real. They don't want to admit it. I say, go to the website, go here, go there, do that. And then as soon as I can say that, would be nice. That's the customer support side of things, which I think is probably work in progress behind the scenes. As for gameplay wise or in
What can Jagex do better right now? Is there anything? We can answer this question right now in our chat. Probably the bots is number one, but I don't know what that's every game company ever is struggling to fix bots. Jagex, there's no way to fix it. Banning bald people. What? Okay, this is why they don't ask you guys anything. Okay, you guys got nothing good to say? Better hairstyles. Okay. Make agility faster and more fun. I think they would say that they already did that with this Hollowed Sepulcher, but I know what you're saying.
inside the game, that is a question that I might need more time with, if I'm honest.
Okay, that's fine, yeah.
First thing that came to mind is I was just thinking of the recent updates, PVM wise and questing wise. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing, keep going in the right direction. There's no mistakes, nothing at fault. Everything's really good.
Nice. We'll take that.
So maybe with the fact that I mentioned that, maybe it's something to do with PvP. Maybe the thing you need are these monthly PvP tournaments. Give it a bit of the limelight. You know, some people
PvP,
watch it.
Make PvP great again.
99 point. Like when you say you're creating content for like, people say you're creating content for the top 0.001% or something if you create some ridiculously hard thing. The PvP tournaments are for the 0.0001% because PvP is such a small community. But it includes people because they can watch. So if you have the stream,
is always massive. Yeah.
If the stream, I don't know, $10,000
That is a bit of a problem with PvP.
I don't know how it works. You might have 10,000, 20,000 people watching every single time.
The best people always win.
That might motivate them to start PvP. Yeah. And tri-breeding is very accessible because last man standing.
And PVM, you're fighting against a boss, so lots of people can win. More people winning is better. That's why PvP is a niche thing and not like the most popular thing in MMOs, usually.
And stuff like that. So maybe the only thing I could think of is something that brings PvP more into the competitive scene. I think when it comes down to competition, PvP is the best thing for it.
I would love to see I don't know how they would do it, but I mean, a ranking system maybe that people cared about. Like if you get a certain amount of ranking, you unlock cosmetics, like cooler cosmetics that I care about. I don't know if I care about any of the ones that are in the game right now, but if there was like an LMS ranking where I cared about the cosmetics that it gave, it could entice me to do more LMS. I don't know if it'll inspire me to go to the wilderness, but I might do more LMS if there was cool cosmetics.
I can't think. You'd have to, if you gave me, I can talk about it tomorrow. If you give me a day,
all right,
I can probably come up with a few things that I think, yes, maybe I think the game could do well. I'm someone that really enjoys the game a lot.
Yeah.
And again, the first thing when you ask that question, I just thought of everything that's come out recently, and I'm like, it's all
I haven't seen any I cared about, but I can figure it out.
There's nothing wrong with it, in my honest opinion. You know, the drop tables, you're doing the drop tables right now. You know, drop tables that just spam alks and all that stuff. I think that's not that good, but you've moved away from that now. Like things like Cerberus, perfect drop table. I think.
I tell you what, if PvP gave me agility experience, I would do it. I just fixed RuneScape. I just fixed PvP and agility in one sentence. Done. I just fixed RuneScape.
Doom might be a bit too bad, but it keeps the prices good because it's 3 best in slots. So Doom's decent. Nightmare, very questionable. But no, I mean, I don't know. I just think everything right now, there's been some mistakes in the past with drop tables and stuff rectified. You know, you kind of know what you're doing now. You add your orbs, you add your other stuff. It's all quite good. No, I can't think of anything personally.
Nightmare was a funny one because it had so many drops.
Yeah. Just
Nightmare came at like a weird time when people were telling us, okay, go back to unique drops, like less alks and stuff like that. And I think we overcompensated by adding too many uniques.
Yeah, and it's what is quite a long, arduous fight. I know it's been changed and revamped a lot now, but yeah, absolutely is. It's its own nightmare. Not to sound too lame. I know that the developers also are not too fond of it now and look back on that as an example of what not to do. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But that's like, that was, I don't know when Nightmare was released. Let's say it's 4 years ago. You don't have anything like that now. That's why, again, it's good. If I rewind the clocks 4 or 5 years ago and you're like, what should we change? Like, what's the point? You've already changed it. You know, you're already moved in that direction. Nightmare, though, I would say you could delete Nightmare from the game and just leave Fasanis. Fasanis is what Nightmare should have been.
Yeah.
Fasanis is.
Or what if doing PvP, like doing LMS, you could cash in your points for like an XP lamp or something. Maybe somebody could break that. But maybe it's not very fast. It's got to be way slower than any other method of training. But if you could get lamps from PvP, so you're not really like wasting your time per se doing PvP, then maybe there's something there. We could talk about that.
It's one of my favorite encounters in the whole game. I just think it's good. The drop table kind of brings it down a bit because it's so rare to get something, but it feels so good when you do get something. But the actual concept of that fight, I really like it. Yeah. So I do like Fasani quite a lot. A lot of people hate it, but
I think with regular Nightmare, and I'm trying to cast my mind back to being in that position 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, like you said. I think we just tried to create a new hard group boss, which had really strong drops, like a God Wars type thing encounter, and then we just missed the mark. I think probably somewhere down the line, we kind of forgot what we were trying to design and then went too far one way.
Yeah, Nightmare, if I remember when it did come out, if we're talking drop tables, I'm always someone that likes a drop table where the loot's kind of okay, like kind of break evens your supplies. God Wars is one of the best, you know. I think Cerberus is good. There's so many out there now, I won't name more. Nightmare was one where it was just too bad. You know, you would just have to lose so much money. And then they were so rare. They've been buffed since. The items it drops as well, like obviously Inquisitor's best in slot for Crush. Niche armor, especially now that the like oath plates in the game, so like the Siphon Slash can sometimes beat the Siphon Crush with Inquisitor, depending on the boss. Like if you're Tecton, maybe I think Tecton now you wear oath plate with Siphon Slash, maybe. I don't know if that's true, but I think it might be. But yeah, Nightmare, obviously the harmonized orb. Eldritch is really good now. Volatile's obviously a PvP thing, but yeah, the amount of drops on there, they're all quite desirable, but again, it just takes so long to get them. The Nightmare is one of those where, again, I don't think you've had a drop table. I wouldn't really say it's the worst drop table because I personally think drop tables that just spam alks are just, in my opinion, worse. Like I'd rather kill Nightmare for 10 hours than Vorkath for 10 hours. Yeah. You know, Vorkath is mechanically pretty boring. Nightmare's not boring, but Vorkath, you'll get more money realistically from Vorkath until you get the payout from the Nightmare. But people, again, it's long-term gratification, you know, or you get spooned. You go Nightmare for drop rate hours. I don't know how long it takes. Let's say it takes 61 hours to get a drop on rate. You get it. And let's say you get a good one, you make a few hundred million. Let's say you get harmonized orb. Let's say it's 400 million. You made 8 million an hour, technically, minus supply losses. Kill Vorkath for 61 hours. You're going to be on guaranteed 180 mil or something. But it's boring because it steadily goes up rather than just goes boom like that. The feeling of getting the big drop is always good.
It's unrivaled, yeah.
Exactly that. But the drop table, you know, you kill Nightmare and it takes 8 minutes. Like I'm on Nightmare as an example. You get 21 bass. I'm like, well, you know, I want at least something from this one and all that stuff. And then rune drops, like as in rune, blood rune, soul runes, always good, but again, they're kind of boring. Things like that. So that could be one thing, maybe to say. But no, that is 5 years ago. Now, I think drop tables are great. I think they've moved definitely in the right direction where the uniques hold the value of the monster rather than killing something being like a guaranteed 3 mil an hour. Because I think realistically, if you go through those, the only bad ones are Hydras, whatever. But then you've got, it's Vorkath and...
Yeah, that's a good idea, Kaz. An endless PvP challenge, like basically Mythic Plus, a Mythic Plus challenge mode in RuneScape where people can go deeper and deeper, whatever, and it continuously and infinitely increases in difficulty. Something like that could be really cool.
Zora. They're the main ones everyone says, and they're very, very old. And if you look at all the new stuff added, it's all very good. Because drop tables as well, if you take Perilous Moons, for example, Perilous Moons is mid-tier content. The drop table of that is incredible. You know, the sun-kissed bones, or the bones you get that you can break down and train prayer with immediately after, like on an Iron Man.
Not deep delving.
The
Deep
meta
delving's
of
the
Iron Man
same
back in the day
wave.
killed 2,200 blue dragons with death runes that you raise from Cat's Eye and Blast. That was the meta. That's get 70 prayer. Now it's do perilous moons to the green log, and you get 4,000 soft clay for house tabs, loads of maple seeds, ultra compost that you can turn into, super compost, you turn into ultra compost, and you get all the bones for 70 prayer. I'm like, that is a gameplay loop that's super enjoyable that passively gets you this prayer level a million times better. So things like that, it's just perfectly placed in the game.
One more question. I don't know if you thought about it, but I know you're like, you think about a lot ahead of time. Raids 4. Raids 1 and 2 and 3, we have Mega Rare, which corresponds to like a certain combat style.
Yes.
Raids 4, we've run out of combat styles. Have you been thinking of like, what do you reckon we're going to do in terms of Mega Rare? Or have you had any ideas you were pitching to us?
We said a necklace, right? We did a poll in chat, and the next Mega Rare should be like a necklace, is what people were saying. Next Mega Rare could be necklaces or something. It's tough, isn't it, guys? It's tough to make an idea that everybody... Whenever you think you have a good idea, say it in front of a bunch of people. No one will agree with you on anything.
One thing I could quickly say is the 3 Mega Rares in the game, I personally think they should always be the best. However, the Scythe is obviously a slash weapon. The Shadow is obviously a mage weapon that scales the way it does. And then the T-Bow is the T-Bow.
Yep.
I don't know how you'd ever be able to add a weapon better than a T-Bow to the game. So that should forever be the best. If raids can always have best, that's good. But there are missing one-handed Mega Rares potentially. Okay. I don't know how you'd bridge the gap, but the price-wise could be different. You know, if a T-Bow's a T-Bow, you might have some one-handed javelin or something, I don't know, for range that could be difference between both a blowpipe and T-Bow. The difference, that's massive though. The other thing is the Avernic Treads. Combine the 3 best boots in the game. I reckon, if I had to say it, Avernic Treads will be the best in slot boots probably in the game forever. I don't really know when you'd ever decide to beat them. They just have everything combined that keeps multiple pieces of content very relevant. So that concept is combining things. Now, I don't know if it'd be boring, but Raids 4 could have something that allows you to combine.
Combine all 3 Mega Rares into the Spirit Bomb from Dragon Ball Z, where you no longer need a weapon at all. You're just casting with your hands and beating people up with your fists. And it's an invisible Mega Rare that morphs, and it will automatically do the best combat and hit the person with the best ability that you have. Damn.
A ring together. You could combine the amulets. You could maybe combine the gloves, because it is a power creep.
Yeah.
But all the best players in the game will take all the switches in the game to every content anyway. And they're going to do them without missing any ticks anyway. These are the best. So it doesn't quite, it creates a really small power creep because not many people would take a boot switch to places. Yeah. Now you don't need to. So yes, there's a bit of power creep. But realistically, if someone's going to hit with mage, range, or melee, they're going to always have the correct amulet on. So you can create something that maybe combines the occult necklace, the anguish. And although I do think there'll be an upgrade to the anguish soon, because all of the Zenites minus the suffering do have an upgrade, I think. Because of whatever. So I think anguish will get an upgrade. But it could be like an amulet that just has them all combined. And then that could be the Mega Rare. It's kind of boring to have them.
Combining all 3 necklaces into one could be the next Mega Rare.
Mega Rare be like a utility piece. But something like that, if you made it rare enough, would cost billions.
Okay.
I honestly think Avernic Treads, the idea of that could have been a Mega Rare too.
Because it just combines things. It's convenience. Allows you to bring in an extra 2 inventory slots, which that's the power creep. Just 2 extra inventory slots, really. Gear-wise, you're wearing whatever.
They're too good.
But if you add it, like you do the raid, it's like a 1 in 100, or let's say like if you're doing Tob, I don't know the rate of a Scythe. I think it's like 1 in 654 if you don't MVP in a trio. That's a trio. Obviously, 5-man scale would change. If you had this amulet thing be 1 in 500 from a raid.
Cal, do you thank you very much for the prime.
It combines the amulets together. The richest players in the game will pay billions for it just to get it. And it's convenience, not only power spike. But if you're doing a raid, you get a T-Bow, you're buzzing. You know, you get a Shadow, you're buzzing. You get a Scythe, you're buzzing. If you get this amulet thing, are you buzzing?
Yeah.
It doesn't create that.
I think that's it, right? Is that it's a very logical, reasonable reward. But I think for the majority that will look at it, it doesn't have the same allure as as a super powerful weapon.
How do you add another weapon to the game?
Yeah, that's the only downside. It's
because like the Mega Rare weapons is super hype. The fact that Scythe looks the way that it does is super hype. The fact that T-Bow is so good is super hype. The damage and output and the way that Tumikin's Shadow scales and how rare it is, it makes it super hype. What is going to be super hype if you add another mega rare to the game? Necklace, boots, gloves, to the extent armor is not even super hype. It's like weapon is the only thing that's super hype. And it's like, okay, let's add a weapon. And maybe Scythe is really good at slash damage, but it's not great at crush. So it's like, okay, let's make a crush weapon, a crush mega rare. But where is, crush is not highly valued in the game at this point. So they'd have to add more content around that. And so that's the only thing I can think of right now, unless they were to add a crossbow mega rare, or a one-hand mega rare is what I'm thinking off the top of my head right now. But eventually you run out of ideas here. You run out of weapons. An offhand mage mega rare. ZCB is already that. Combining offhand tomes. Wait a second. Could be cooking with that. An offhand mage mega rare. Wait, is Tombkins one hand or two? I don't have a Tombkins. I don't know. Tombkins is two-handed, so it's like you can't, unless it was a mega rare that you could hold in your offhand while wielding a two-handed weapon. You could make your Scythe and your Tombkins and your T-bow even stronger. It could be a mega rare that you could attach to hold in your offhand that makes your mega rare stronger. That would be, it's tough, isn't it? It's tough to be a game designer, man. Like, you can have an idea, but it might break the game or whatever. One hand crush weapon that does percentage health damage. Mega rare gives you an extra ring slot. Where are you going to put the ring? Finally caught you live? Hell yeah, brother.
It's a utility piece, but it could be the second drop in the raid. But the mega rare, when it comes to weapons, there's one niche, which I guess should be a two-handed melee stab weapon. Right now, the best stab weapon in the game is the Fang.
We get a new halberd. Well, we just had the Noxious halberd, actually.
Yeah, that'll push more slap.
Don't you guys find it kind of crazy that Fang is the best stab weapon when it's one of the easiest items to get? It's like getting in a Vernic from TOB, but it's just the best stab weapon. I think it's too easy to get the best stab weapon in the game. Yeah, I mean, maybe they could put a mega rare stab weapon, mega rare crush.
Flash, but you can stab with it. But that's obviously because obviously the Scythe, technically it has crush on it, but the primary style is what you should look at all the weapons.
Yeah.
But that means, let's say you've got 5 raids in the game. Is it going to be one mega rare range weapon, T-bow? I think yes. You're never going to beat that. The Shadow is obviously quite niche, but it is obviously still the best mage weapon in the game. But then do you have a two-handed slash weapon, a two-handed stab weapon, and a two-handed crush weapon over the raids? Or does that get a bit boring? But that just allows you, again, to have a specific item for every single different thing. If I kill...
No, I mean, specific items. Don't you guys think that you should, instead of just having boots, like a Vernic treads, you have to be careful because you start combining stuff and the game gets a little bit boring. I think that having more gear swaps in your inventory should always net more DPS. I don't think you can combine too many items. Maybe one item combining is okay. Like maybe the boots is okay. But you probably want to keep RuneScape number of switches equals amount of damage you're able to do in raid. That's the core concept of RuneScape. And then balancing that with the extra slots that you have in your inventory to be consumables. And perfect gameplay equals less consumables. Like that's kind of the core foundation of RuneScape. So the boots, even though I think they're probably one of the coolest items in the game, it kind of contradicts the core concept of RuneScape. And I'm not sure that they belong in the game other than on the boots. You can't take something away. I don't think we should maybe continue going down that route. Maybe they should put out new boots. maybe they should put out new boots that are better than treads at some point.
Gargoyles. I think gargoyles now you wear, I don't know if you wear like oath plate and a scythe on slash might be best in slot now everywhere, but maybe on a gargoyle, you wear Inquisitor and the scythe on crush. But if you had another weapon in the game, it's a 200 crush weapon that's 5 tick. They're all 5 ticks, so keep it that way. Something like an Elder Maul, and a big thing. Crushes people, but then it's like, is that the best thing to use on this? But there are 2 niches that could definitely be added. Is a 200 mega rare crush weapon, a 200 mega rare stab weapon. They're your easy options. Outside of that, armor sets, stab. Stab is also missing. You have Inquisitor for crush. You have oath plate now for slash. You can obviously have a stab thing. That can obviously maybe go on a different boss. Doesn't have to be a raid. But they're kind of your options. The whole like combining rings together, gloves together, amulet together. I do think that will come in the future.
Yeah.
There'll be a point of RuneScape maybe very far in the future. If you have everything, you're only doing maybe a 6-way switch. But a 6-way switch is still good, in my opinion, because your amulet, your boots, your ring, maybe your gloves are just solidified, like just they're the best in slot of everything combined. That'll be years, 3-4 years till all that's maybe in the game, but I think it will happen. But that'll leave your cape switch, your helmet plate legs, and then your weapon. And then,
what's your thought on, instead of combining the rings, actually having another ring slot?
Ooh.
So combining the rings, first of all, it depends how do you combine the rings. If you can combine the rings and have an Ultor ring that combines with a Bellator ring for 100% of the whatever, that's the exact same.
I mean, honestly, guys, what if we did combine all the rings? We call it the one ring, and it actually controls 7 other rings. And we don't tell anyone about the 7 other rings, that the one ring will control them all. And we get somebody that's like really good at crafting, like maybe an elf, to craft the one ring with the magic spell. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here.
Same if I have 2 ring slots and wearing those. That's incredibly strong. Like very strong.
Yeah.
I don't have a DPS calc. I'm not one of those people. But if you say, I want an Ultor and a Light Bearer combined, that's very, very strong. The second ring slot, I like it. Obviously, rule number 1, you won't be able to ride the same ring twice.
Yep.
And it changes the meta, because then realistically, if you're PKing, it might be Light Bearer and Suffering, or maybe Light Bearer Suffering with an Ultor switch or something. And obviously in PVM, I think it'll be Light Bearer and something else every time. Or if you're siphoning something constantly, it might be Ultor and Bellator. But it depends, like, do you give them 100% of the rings for both?
Yeah.
Or do you make one be 50%? Because the 50% does bring it to a level where it's still very good. It's still incredible. But it's not quite as broken. Because if you do have a Bellator and an Ultor at the same time with a Scythe, your accuracy is disgusting. But again, there'll be players out there, I don't know the DPS calcs. I was saying, like, Mulgut Kirby, bring him back. He will calc everything and be like, okay, this is absolutely cracked. Ridiculous. But I think it'd be fine in the game. It's power spike, but people that say RuneScape don't have power spike, it's had power spike ever since Ronan shot Grotto with that T-bone hit like an 85.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as that happened, that was the entrance to power spike. It's been in the game. It's just you don't want to, like, even Thralls. The Thralls are really strong.
Yeah, definitely.
But combining 2 rings together, it's how you do it. Because I think most combinations would just be a Light Bearer and something else. And it's just how broken is it? Like, it would add value to everything. Because then there's another one. If you're combining rings to 2 ring slots, what happens to the price of all the rings if you have 2 ring slots?
Yeah,
do they all
suddenly
go up?
rings that aren't as useful because you have to choose between one become more useful, I guess.
Exactly. Right now, everyone, as far as I'm aware, you always follow max hits, and Ultor gives more max hits than Bellator. I think the Bellator might be good for like a BJ spec on Duke or something like that. That's about it. Combine the 2 together, the Bellator ring would instantly just skyrocket in price because now it's super desirable, super demanded.
It also opens up new space for rings as well that wouldn't ever have been used as much before. More utility for stuff because you could have a DPS and a utility ring.
Damn. A new ring that allows you to equip another ring. So kind of like Dazana's quiver, which gives you another slot for ammo. You put a ring on and it allows you to wear another one. It could be something interesting, a mega rare ring.
You know, like the Light Bearer is a DPS, but it's also utility in the sense of it being special attack. But would you choose Light Bearer, maining that over pure damage? I don't know. If you didn't have to choose.
Depends on your special attack weapon, but I think if you could combine an Ultor and a Light Bearer, that would be the go-to for melee. The Venator ring's quite bad. So range wouldn't get too much budget for this. You'd probably end up taking like a Suffering and a Light Bearer for that one. Because I think as far as I'm aware, the Venator doesn't really give max hits in most situations with range. So again, max hits are the important thing to chase. But melee, again, if you're in the max melee and you've got an Ultor and a Bellator doing Tob, everything's just going to get destroyed. Things like that. But then obviously in Tob, I reckon you'd have those. The Light Bearer, I do think most people would take like Light Bearer and like Ultor to most places. So it'd be interesting to see what. But I mean, that would make the price of a Light Bearer go up even higher. Which I still think, like, that was one mistake with TOM. The Light Bearer, if you release a ring in the game that doubles your special attack regeneration, that is so disgustingly strong. And the ring went down to 1 mil at one point.
Yeah, it was way too cheap.
It was so common. You know, that could have been the mega rare from TOA, and it would be worth billions and everyone would want it.
This is one of the problems, though, with having content that people are aware of before it's out, is that, you know, on paper, for the majority of people that aren't going through the calculations, they're not looking at all of the min-max scenarios, it sounds uninteresting. Like, why would I ever use that? I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to use my Berserker Ring imbued, right? And that's what a lot of commentary comes through. So it's like, okay, it doesn't need to be as rare. Like, the community aren't as bothered by it. But when it comes out, people get to experience it firsthand, and then suddenly it's like, actually, not that good. We have that. I think that's one of the biggest issues with us in terms of all rewards, in all fairness, is the the theory and the excitement of something versus the reality of it can be two very different things.
Yeah, because obviously everything goes through the poll. So you announce what it's going to be, what it's going to do. And as soon as you announce that, the players, they've got the DPS calcs, so they're testing everything. Like, okay, this is good, whatever, let's go, all that stuff. To go back to the question quickly, the mega rare from Raids 4, whatever it is, should be best in slot in the raid.
Lightbearer could have been a mega rare. Fang could have been a mega rare. I think these items are too good to be a common drop in a TOA, which you can get from a TOA 50. I think they're too good.
I think right now, I want to say the Shadow in Chambers saves more time than the T-Bow, but I think that TLB is fine. Like Cypher's the best in slot, but if there's a weapon from Raids 4, that weapon should be the best weapon to use in the raid. I think that's a really good gameplay loop. TOB does it best. TOA does it quite well as well, which TOA Shadow and Fang most of it.
Old Fang for sure.
Then Chambers is obviously a bit of everything, but the T-Bow is very good. But now the Shadow has overtaken it. But again, T-Bow's best in slot for all that stuff. But I think whatever it is, if it does end up being a 200 stab weapon or a 200 crush weapon, the raid should cater towards that. Which obviously means people would panic buy. There is no stab armor. Maybe you had the stab armor and the stab weapon in the same raid. That'd be pretty cool. But people, as soon as you find out it's a 200 crush weapon, Inquisitor's going to skyrocket because everyone's going to suddenly think, right, this raid is going to be crush based. But I think that's the gameplay that was good is you don't want to do a raid, get the mega rare, get the weapon and just go sell it. I mean, you sell it if it's early because the price is so high. But if you're selling it forever and then you're only using it for different content, I feel like each raid, its item that it gives, the big one, should be the best in slot item in the raid. And I think that should be, it makes it predictable of getting what to merch. But if you just ignore merching, ignore buying all the stuff, the idea that raids 5, 6, 7.
I think the obvious thing here is like in horizontal progression is like you have a BIS set of gear for every damage type. So there's got to be the oath plate equivalent for slash, for stab, and for crush. And then there's got to be maybe a mega rare for each of those. And it's kind of the natural evolution of horizontal progression. But what happens when you run out of that stuff? And that's where I would be more concerned with, like, where would the game go then?
Their mega rares are the best in the raid. Eventually, it might come to a point where people are so rich, so much money, that they get one early and they're like, you know what? It's worth 7
Thank you very much for the primes.
I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to use it because they just want to use it in the raid straight away, things like that. But I think that's a really good gameplay loop is best in slot items from raids being, or the mega rare, from raids being the best in slot item for that raid.
I like it too. That's great.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, I think we'll call the cast there for now. I'd love to have you back again at some point.
W's in the chat for the B0aty interview, guys. W's in the chat. If you enjoyed that interview with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. B0aty. That was awesome. We had some good chats today listening to that. I love listening to the OSRS podcast. Hopefully they have me on one day. I'm going to keep saying it until they do. And if they don't, then I'm just going to keep saying it. So they're going to have to deal with that.